Welcome back, friends. In this video, we'll be taking a look into the life of the famous scientist Charles Darwin. Born on February 12, 1809, in Shrewsbury, England, was a boy with an unquenchable curiosity about the natural world. As the fifth of 6 children in a wealthy family, he grew up surrounded by books, science, and lively debates. But young Darwin was no academic prodigy. He preferred collecting beetles, observing birds, and wandering the countryside over studying in a classroom. Darwin's father, a successful doctor, hoped Charles would follow in his footsteps. But medical school wasn't for Darwin. He was squeamish at the sight of blood and found lectures dreadfully boring. His father, disappointed but pragmatic, sent him to Cambridge to study for the clergy instead. There, Darwin's passion for the natural world reignited. He spent hours studying plants, collecting beetles, and learning from professors like John Henslow, who became his mentor. It was during these years that Darwin's life took an unexpected turn. In 1831, Henslow recommended him for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, a voyage around the world aboard the HMS Beagle. Darwin, just 22 years old, jumped at the chance. For 5 years, from 1831 to 1836, Darwin sailed around the world as the ship's naturalist. His mission was to study plants, animals, and geology in exotic lands. The journey took him to South America, Africa, Australia, and most famously, the Galapagos Islands. In the Galapagos, Darwin observed finches with different beak shapes and sizes, each adapted to its specific food source. These observations planted the seeds of an idea that would take decades to fully form. He also collected fossils, studied coral reefs, and marveled at the diversity of life, all while meticulously recording his findings. By the end of the voyage, Darwin was a changed man. He had gathered a treasure trove of data and specimens, but more importantly, he had begun to question the prevailing belief that all species were created fixed and unchanging. Back in England, Darwin spent years analyzing his findings, reading scientific literature, and corresponding with other naturalists. Gradually, a revolutionary idea took shape. Species evolve over time through a process of natural selection. Darwin proposed that individuals with traits better suited to their environment were more likely to survive and reproduce, passing those traits on to their offspring. Over generations, this process could lead to entirely new species. But Darwin knew his theory would be controversial. At the time, most people believed that every species was created by God exactly as it appeared. Publishing a theory that contradicted this view could ruin his reputation. For over 20 years, Darwin worked quietly, gathering evidence to support his ideas. Then, in 1858, another naturalist, Alfred Russel Wallace, independently arrived at a similar conclusion. Faced with the possibility of losing credit for his work, Darwin finally decided to publish. In 1859, Darwin released his masterpiece, On the Origin of Species by Means of Natural Selection. The book was a sensation. It explained how life could adapt and change over time, offering countless examples from Darwin's research. While some praised it as a triumph of science, others attacked it as heresy. The debate was fierce, but the seeds of a scientific revolution had been sown. Darwin continued to write and refine his theories, publishing works on everything from barnacles to earthworms. His research was meticulous, and his ability to connect seemingly unrelated observations set him apart as a true pioneer. Despite his fame, Darwin preferred a quiet, private life. He lived with his wife, Emma, and their children in the countryside, tending to his garden and conducting experiments at home. He was deeply devoted to his family, though his marriage to Emma, a devout Christian, was sometimes strained by his scientific views. Darwin's health was fragile, and he often suffered from mysterious illnesses that left him bedridden for weeks. But he remained intellectually active until his death on April 19, 1882. He was buried in Westminster Abbey, an honor reserved for Britain's greatest minds. Charles Darwin's theory of evolution forever changed the way we understand life on Earth. His ideas laid the foundation for modern biology, influencing fields as diverse as genetics, medicine, and paleontology. Today, the concept of evolution is as central to science as gravity is to physics. Beyond science, Darwin's work sparked discussions about humanity's place in the natural world. He challenged us to see ourselves not as separate from nature, but as part of it, a species shaped by the same forces as every other living thing. Darwin's life is a story of curiosity, perseverance, and courage. He dared to question the status quo and followed the evidence wherever it led, even when it meant facing criticism and doubt. Through his work, Darwin opened our eyes to the incredible story of life itself, a story that continues to unfold with every new discovery. If you enjoyed this, then subscribe to 1,000 Year Personalities for new videos every week.